was the great unknown going forward.
The first thing that comes to mind were the huge crowds at the games and the intensity of the matches back then, I suppose.
1991 has been won.
We were playing a real expansive, enjoyable type of rugby, and some great victories, some tough defeats as well, but some great memories, yeah.
Okay?
Spot on, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Just say the name so in the club.
Okay, my name is John O'Mahony. I'm a member of Cork Constitution Football Club.
Someone on phone, is that? Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's Caroline.
Well, that's good, we know it's someone else.
I'm not going to say shut up. I'm not that brave. Caroline, are you on the phone? Would you mind cease and desist, please? Corkán were hugely supportive of the concept from the word go. It was probably the case in the various provinces that the clubs were fed up of playing each other. This put a whole new edge to matters. It's the nature of competition. I think that clubs would like to prove themselves. They're competitive. They want to look forward to see how they'd measure against teams from other sides who would maintain their prowess, and that when the provinces had finished with their players, they reverted back to their senior clubs. And I think that's why the All-Ireland League proved to be such a success then for the Munster clubs. If I'm not mistaken, the first 8 stayed in Munster.
It was a very different league to what it is now. It was, made up of international rugby players, seasoned guys that were playing rugby a long time. And I suppose that intense rivalry that developed between the clubs, it was already there, I suppose, in Munster, given the history of the Munsters, the Gary Owens, the Shannons, etc. But that, I suppose, as the years developed with the All-Ireland League, it grew to the Dublin teams and beyond. And there was some fantastic games. I was a young lad back then, but used to love going to the games. But it was the crowds, it was the atmosphere, and it was the next big thing outside of international rugby. The AIL has meant everything to me, because I suppose, barring underage and schools rugby, once I finished schools rugby, AIL was everything in everyone's eyes that played rugby. Everyone wanted to play the highest level of rugby, which at the time was AIL, outside of course playing at interprovincial or international level. And that opportunity to get to Dublin, to go up the north, to get to Connacht and play these big teams with hugely experienced players. As a younger age, I suppose I got to see these guys, and then a bit older, be involved as a coach. It's been fantastic, and it's been an integral part of Irish rugby, and long may it continue.
I don't think anybody, knew going forward how much crack was going to be involved and what a competitive edge there was, and it just brought a completely different perspective to the whole club game in Ireland, because, as I said, now you had a national aspect to things. It was incredible.
My first game for Lansdowne was in 1993, September 93. I just joined from UCD and we were playing Young Munster. Young Munster had won the All-Ireland the previous season, so for me that was the reason why I was joining Lansdowne, to play in the AIL, because there was only a couple of divisions in AIL then, and that was, any young aspiring player who had ambition had to be sort of playing in the All-Ireland League. And you couldn't get much better than playing away to the current champions. So we went down, we played Young Munster, Peter Clossy, all the boys playing, Gerald's, and we beat them 10-6, I think. which was fantastic. So that, you know, that definitely is a very good early memory.
One of my earliest rugby memories is actually my granddad bringing me to Lansdowne Road to watch Ireland. He used to play Fiji back in the day, and he used to have a season ticket in the West Stand there, and I remember seeing his caps up on the wall and all that when I was younger, kind of playing out the back garden kind of with him throwing a ball around. That was all I used to do, was spend time kicking a ball. And it started, to be honest, I started out in the back garden here with my dad. I remember put up posts for me when I was younger, and that's where I used to kind of practice my goal kicking every evening until it got dark. My granddad, who played for Ireland as well, he was a big influence growing up, and that's him actually captain in Trinity back in the day. He played there, and he went to Kilkenny College as well. And this is actually a rugby ball he played with. I think it was the first ball that was used under lights in Ireland as well. So nice little thing to have.
I was lucky enough to play the very first fixture we played in the All-Ireland League in 1996. We achieved promotion the year before, and I was away and travelling overseas and had no real intention of coming home. But the AIL was a big thing, and I came home and I was lucky enough to start in the first game, and really it snowballed from there. As far as we were concerned, it was brand new and exciting, and it was perfect. I was 21 years old. We stayed 2 nights everywhere we went, and it was just incredible. And we travelled in numbers, we had loads of fans. It was new for everyone, so we had this 3-year blast where we got promoted twice, and then unfortunately hit a glass ceiling. But the third season when we were awful, was the best season of crack anybody ever had, and it's still talked about, even though we only won 1 game.
My earliest memories down here in Railway is when we were travelling down to Highfield. When we used to play them with Blackrock, they were always the hardest team to get a result out of. We never travelled well, but I always remember going down there, and in the very last play of the game, Emer O'Mahony scored the winning try, and I come off the pitch with just an array of emotions. And I always remember walking past, I had my boots off, and I always remember walking past the pitch and going to Shirley, who helped set up the women's section with us, going, "Now I believe." And 18 months prior to that, we had been working on the plan, the strategy and the vision for the club, and what the league was going to be, and all our goals. And I remember turning to Shirley and going, "Now I believe, now I understand why Johnny, our director of rugby, his visions, his belief in the women's game, in the league, and what could be achieved." And no one had challenged it to that point. Yeah, super proud and very humbled to be a president, the second female president in the club. It's very balanced, and we all work together, and we have the same vision, and always have done ever since we set up the women's section.
Have to talk about things like money then, because the importance of sponsors like Energia and that into, because you were travelling on a regular basis to clubs in the north of Ireland, which by definition involved overnight stays, etc. It has huge financial implications for the clubs, and it's still a feature that the clubs have to reckon with. Somebody asked me relatively recently about who my heroes in the club be, but I would say all the volunteers, all the people who turn out as coaches for kids on Saturday mornings. They're just amazing people, and I think that the social service that is provided by sports clubs generally is an incredible service to the state.